to talk about Dr. Mantha sir. It is like a dream come true when sir is here in campus. Somebody who has an invaluable contribution. It's an invaluable contribution from Dr. Mantha sir as far as Indian education system is concerned. And I'm really fortunate that I am reading his profile. We are really fortunate to have him with us. Uh, Offline session by Dr. Mantha sir itself is something which is very exciting for every. In fact, during pandemic, we had online sessions. Everybody has been going online, and thereafter, all the big personalities have chosen online platform to deliver the talk. But we all know as a person becomes big, grows, his humbleness increases. And Dr. Mantha sir is the biggest example of the same. Thank you, sir, from bottom of my heart, for accepting our invitation. For us, it's nothing less than stars coming on the earth. Uh, in an illustrious career that spans more than 40 years, Dr. Shankar S. Mantha sir has held several important positions both in academics and public administrations. Dr. S. Mantha sir has been a former chairman of National Regulatory Body, AICTE. He implemented several e-governance initiatives and facilitating regulations over 6-year stint. Earlier, professor of robotics, control theory, and artificial intelligence at VGTI, he now occupies the Emeritus chair. His work at IBM, Poughkeepsie, New York on Tivoli is also noteworthy. More than 280 publications in national and international journals and conferences besides authoring 3 books. Sir is the author of NVEQF, National Vocational Education Qualification Framework, now renamed as National Skill Qualification Framework, and the regulations for blended learning. He was a member of Karnataka Skill Development Authority and advisor to Government of Andhra Pradesh. Sir has also served another prestigious post of Pro Vice Chancellor of SNDT Women's University and the Chancellor of KL University, both of which he served for 3 years. Currently, Sir is the CEO of Mahaprith Startup Knowledge Center. He is also adjunct professor at National Institute of Advanced Science in IAS, Bangalore, and chairman of Technical Committee National Cyber Safety and Security Standards. He is also an IT expert for Government of Maharashtra. Besides this, his profile is quite extensive. He has guided numerous number of students and faculty members who have made their career with his guidance and with his expertise and knowledge. I thank you, sir, from on behalf of Rizvi Education Society Management, President Rizvi sir, Director Advocate Mrs. Rubina Akhtar Rizvi Madam, all of us. Thank you, sir, for being here, and we are waiting for you to address the gathering. Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you, madam. Now I call upon Dr. Mantha sir to address the gathering present here. We are truly excited to hear from him today as sir is going to share his invaluable insights on the National Education Policy, NEP, and the transformative potential it holds for our educational landscape. So Dr. Mantha sir, it's over to you now.
There are challenges in the implementation of the same. We will see what the challenges are and what we will need to do in time to come so that we can implement the policy. The policy, there is a underlying theme, Ano Badra Krutavoyantu Vishwata. It insists, let Ano Badra, Badra is noble thoughts. Kratavaha Ayantu Vishwata. Let them come from anywhere. So noble thought from anywhere into the system, into our learning. So that's the understanding of the policy. And there is a underlying theme of Atmanirbharta, self-reliance. And self-reliance, sarvam paravasham dukkham. Anything that is paravasham, anything that is in others' control will cause dukkha. And sarvam atmasham sukham. Anything that is there in our control will get us happiness. Anything that is in our control will cause pain. That's the simple meaning of self-reliance. So you become self-reliant. You become so self-reliant that you can do your own job. You are in control of yourself, and therefore happiness is yours. So sarvam paravasham dukkham, sarvam atmavasham sukham. So that's the underlying theme of Atmanirbharta. And there is paravidya and aparavidya. Paravidya and aparavidya means something we, in our evolution, we learn something within the precincts of an institution. Right? Within the university, within the institution, we learn something. And we learn something outside the university. So there is paravidya and there is aparavidya. So both are important for the evolution, for the growth of an individual. So built on the fundamental pillars, of access, quality, affordability, and accountability. They are the tenets of the national education policy. Access, everybody should have education. Equity, in the same way, everybody should receive education. Right? Your education should not be different from my education. Quality, it should have quality and it should be affordable. And there must be accountability built into the system. So they are the policies, they are the pillars on which the national education policy stands. We have a very large education system. Current count is 1,074 universities. Okay. And about 40,000 colleges we have, which are most of them are affiliated to about 400 universities in the country. And we have a GER of 27.1 currently. Gross enrollment ratio means out of all the eligible students, if I have 100 eligible students who can go to college, then I have today only 27 going to college. So the higher education gross enrollment ratio is 27.1 today. If you look at the primary education, the gross enrollment ratio is almost 98, which means out of 100 eligible children, 98 of them go to primary school. So it's very good. But that 2% also results in large numbers because our population is very large. When you come down to secondary education, the gross enrollment ratio becomes something around 74, 75, so on. Which means from primary to secondary education, you have dropouts, of almost 25 to 100 dropouts we have. Reasons for this. We have primary schools in every corner of the country. So children can go to primary schools. But when they come to secondary education, the schools with secondary sections is becoming lesser. So our secondary schools are lesser in number. So our children, they cannot go to secondary schools because there is no secondary school in their vicinity. So they have, if they want to travel, then if they want to study, they'll have to travel 3 kilometers, 4 kilometers in order to get into a secondary school. And that is difficult for them because most of them also support their families. So travel is not possible. So therefore they have to drop out of education completely. Most affected in that are the girls. The girls, so they drop out. Even the boys drop out because they have to support the family, their income. So what is the way out? You have to have more secondary schools, or conversely, you convert all your primary schools to secondary schools. So that is a feature of NEP, and they will be doing that in the next few years. Then that 27.1 GER was also disrupted during the COVID times. Right? So like I said, the intent and the content of the policy is good, right? It's a very well intended document. Things are written. And the content, the way it is presented is also, the problem could be in terms of implementing it. So nothing to fault on the intent, but the content needs implementation, like I've been saying, and that could be a challenge. But challenges, I know, we all know, that they also give you opportunities. Right? So one of the possibility in understanding how to overcome those challenges, look at our corporates and how they have unlocked value through stressed times. So we get some lessons of how we could. Okay? So most of them match their structures to their strategies in the modern business history. What is it that you want to do, and what is the inputs that you have? What are the structures that you have? So you try matching them. So 19th century was mass production by centralizing key functions like operations, sales, and finance. And the firms diversified offerings and moved into new regions. Similar things will have to happen in education as well. And we will see over a period of time, over the lectures time, as to how we are going to do that. Corporations like GM and DuPont created business units structured around products and geographical markets. So if I expand this into the education space, you need to create new courses, new programs, new structures around geographical markets. So if something sells in Kerala, you do that in Kerala. If something sells in Maharashtra, you do that in Maharashtra, and so on. So probably the underlying fact is you look at the markets, look at the requirements, and design your programs, your courses, and so on. And education is now student-centric. Until this time, we were talking about a faculty-centric system where we used to decide what the student will learn, what the student will study. But the NEP changes that paradigm into a student-centered learning. There are several features that come in NEP which will tell you how it becomes student-centric, whether it's academic bank of credits, whether it's multi-point entry exit, or personalized learning. All that is a part of student-centric learning. Okay? Let the student decide what he wants to study, when he wants to study, where he wants to study, and place he wants to study. So that's the underlying feature of the NEP. Now, before doing anything about NEP, let's look at the reality check. What is there today? From here, we want to move into something else. So let's understand what we have today. More than 60% population is below 30. That's the demographic dividends that we talk about so often. And how does it compare? Look at the median age in India is about 20. So we have a large productive people in that age group. If you, for example, if you compare with Germany, it's about 43. If you compare with Japan, it's about 46, and so on. So what it means is they have aging population. We have young population, where the median age here is just about 29. So next 20 years, we will have that advantage. And if we don't use that advantage, then we are the losers, right? So more than 60% population is below the 30-year age. Like I said, the median age is 29. What it also means that the expectations, that they are the younger group, so they will have expectations out of the system. They will have aspirations from the system. And if they are not met, then you will have a societal problem, right? So that's the first implication. The second is we need an equitable education to serve all disparities, whether class, caste, religion, gender, whatever. So whatever education we are providing must be the same for everybody, irrespective of religion, irrespective of caste, gender, whatever, right? So those disparities must go. And drop in the functioning, there has been some drop in the funding that comes into Sarva Shiksha Abhiyan and Rashtriya Madhyamik Shiksha Abhiyan and so on. There have been some funding problems. Then one important parameter that defines equity is curriculum. For example, you can't have different levels of curriculum for the same cohorts. So what I teach you must be similar in similar conditions, whether you learn here or learn somewhere else. Then NCERT and SEERT must address all the concerns past, present, and future. So that's the outcome of the policy. Emphasis on foundational literacy, numeracy, no rigid separation between academic streams, extracurricular, vocational streams in schools. These are all good ideas. They are all part of the NEP and they are good ideas. There is nothing to, comment or things like that. Foundational literacy, numeracy, important factors. Vocational education, skill-based education, outcome-based education, competency-based education. This is all required irrespective of what you do. Because जो हुनर हम चाहते हैं, if we get that skill, that will last with us rather than something that we forget. So policy envisaging a 6% GDP for education augurs well. Right from the first policy, 6% has been the 6% of GDP is the expenditure which was envisaged for education, all education. So in that, education is just about 1.4, 1.5% actual spending, over a period of time. And out of that 1.5 percent for the entire higher education, technical education has even lesser. So just about 0.6, 0.7% of the GDP, which is the actual spending. So therefore, there is a lot that needs to be done in terms of GDP, usage vis-a-vis the education in actual terms. Because only when you spend, you can see the results and so on. If you target something and then you spend lesser than that, then obviously you are foregoing something in that envisaged requirements. So the policy attempts to set economic directions through the delivery of education for Atmanirbharta, like I said, or self-reliance. I'll not talk too much about the reforms in schools. I just have a slide here because we are most of the time we are interested in the higher education part. But there is something for the schools here. It signals setting up new schools and establishment and merging of new institutions, which is an idea worth exploring. Because like I said, if you want the dropouts to reduce in the secondary sector, you need more schools, you need more, conversions from primary to secondary and so on. And all that needs investments. The new 3+2+3+4 school curriculum with 12 years of schooling replacing the existing 10+2+3 will shift the burden of school back to learning, right? Today, many schools, your children will carry a big bag, lot of books and so that is sought to be reduced within the way you define the curriculum and the way you deliver the curriculum. Including, now however, regularizing the Anganwadi workers may not be easy because most of you must be knowing those pre-3+2, the first 3+2 is essentially Anganwadi workers and so on. They are not qualified, the converted to school teachers and so on. So there could be some challenge in regularizing the Anganwadi workers. And including preschool with government school system will provide infra and logistic challenges. You need to improve the system and so on. Free control suggestion in private schools may pose legal challenges. Focus must shift from what to think to how to think. What to think is a spoon feeding system. I tell you what to think. But if I teach you how to think, that could be much better for you. So traditional learning must transform memory skills to thinking skills. Don't by heart, but think. There are two things that everybody must do. You should always ask why and also ask why not. So unless you do that, there is no learning. It's not something that I tell you and you accept. You must be able to ask me why. You also asking me why, which means what is the alternative? Why not that? Why not this? Why only this? And so on. So that is a paradigm shift in our teaching learning processes. Till this date, we have only been talking about one-way traffic. We tell you something, so you listen, that's it. So the NEP seeks to change that. Experiential learning and flipped classroom models seamlessly built into the curriculum. What is experiential learning? Learning by doing, right? Is experiential learning. So I don't only listen to something in the classroom, but I also go and do use my hands, dirty my, shirt, and then learn on the job. That is experiential learning. And flipped classroom means, flipping means what? Turning. What are you turning? Upside down. Whatever you are doing in the classroom, whatever you are learning in the classroom, now I'll start learning outside. And whatever I am learning outside the classroom, I'll learn in the classroom. So that is flipping. That is flipped classroom. So there are different methodologies which are used. There are several Western models which have successfully used them. Now it's imperative to convert all primary schools to secondary level and improve their infrastructure because of the reason that I have cited earlier. There are, of course, problems on English versus the others and so on. We will leave it at that. There are obviously some advantages by learning English, but you must know that whatever is our native language, whichever language we have, maybe Marathi or Gujarati or whatever we have, when we are speaking in English, most of the time we think in our local language and then translate and speak in English. Most of the time we do that because English is not native to us. It's not natural to us. So we tend to translate in the mind and then speak. So many times it doesn't conjugate the way English works. In the way a Britisher would form sentences, we will not be doing that, but we will be conveying the meaning. That's just about it. So there must be some link language which people must learn. So local language, one other language, and probably English or whatever, English or Hindi or something else can become a bridge. The only idea is all our Devanagari scripts have come out from Sanskrit. So maybe learning Sanskrit can make you learn other languages easy. That's the only idea. But that is not promoted, that is a wish. And so we have seen the school part. Now we are looking at the higher education part. GR in the higher education to be raised to 50 by 2035 is a matter of the policy. Very good idea. 27.1 is current GR in the higher education, right? If I want to make it 50, what should I do? Any suggestion from you? Today, 27 students out of every 100, they go to college, right? And 40 million students are there in the higher education system today. That 40 million contribute to the 27.1 GER. Okay? Now I want to almost double that. 50 means what? I am almost doubling that. So what should happen? Technically, my number of school institutions must double. My number of universities must double. My entire infrastructure should double, right? To accommodate, let's say, 80 million students instead of 40 million. That is not going to happen. Because we are not going to, how difficult it is to build one institute, and then you need a lot of inputs to make that institute work. You need faculty, you need all kinds of things. So who is going to invest money in that? So that is not going to work, right? So then how do I make it 50? And then hypothetically, even if I were to double my infrastructure, let's say some how I managed to double my infrastructure. Will the students go to the colleges? No, that's the second question. There is a college. Will the students go there? They may not go there for multiple reasons. Right? Because our education is structured, your education is, very well moderated. I can't do anything except getting into the first year and leaving after 4 years, things like that. And I may be interested in learning, let's say, photography. I may be interested in learning some dramatics. My college doesn't allow me to do it. I'm enrolled in a commerce program, whatever. So it doesn't work. So even if you were to increase the infrastructure, there's no reason why the student should block that. So therefore, certain necessary conditions will arise now. So can I make this population, the new population, get their degrees online instead of building massive brick and mortar infrastructure? Can I get them onto online? So that's the first point. So digital platform becomes an essential feature in the NEP. So building a digital platform becomes important. 3.5 crore seats to be added in higher education. That's what I said. Higher education, now once I say that I have education online, there is a lot of flexibility that I get. Right? In a classroom, things are more set, structured. I have a timetable. So right from the morning till evening, I just go through the whatever is mentioned in the timetable. I hardly get any time to do anything else. In an online mode, I can have a lot more flexibility in the system. So higher education curriculum to have flexibility of subjects. So one feature of your personalized education can be addressed. What to learn, when to learn, how to learn, where to learn. That can be in some way addressed through a online digital platform. There are three things which are extremely important from higher education perspective in the NEP. First is academic bank of credits. The second is multiple point entry and exit. And the third is personalized education. Okay. Now let's look at the three. Academic bank of credits. Credits means what? Today you have a choice-based credit system. You understand a little bit of that, right? So every course will have some credits, right? 3 credits, 4 credits, 2 credits, and so on. And if I have a classroom teaching like this, if I speak for 1 hour, if I engage you for 1 hour in a classroom, that's 1 credit. Okay? Right? Or in a different sense, if I have 15 hours of teaching in a classroom, that's 1 credit, okay, over a semester time. And if I do an experiential kind of learning, go to work, do hands-on skills, if I do 2 hours of that, that is 1 credit. Okay? If I do a straight classroom teaching, it's 1 credit. If I do experiential learning, on-the-job training, 2 hours of that, 1 credit. Okay? So over a semester, you will have 15 hours of classroom teaching as 1 credit and 30 hours of hands-on as 1 credit. Right? So we need to understand what credits is. This credits fundamentally comes from the Carnegie Mellon credit framework. Okay. Now, having said that, you may have in one semester maybe 20 credits, 22 credits or whatever. Is that right? So engagement hours you can calculate from that. How many hours I actually get in that engagement through skill building engagement and so on. So first of all, I understand that everything that I do can be converted to credits, right? In the way I do. If I am in the classroom for 1 hour, I get a credit. If I am in the lab for 2 hours, I get a credit. Everything can be converted to credits. Now, having said that, we will extend this to a little further. These 20 odd credits in a semester, let's say there are 5 programs of 4 credits each, and I get 20 credits. 5 courses, 5 subjects in your language. Out of those 5 courses, one course, let's assume, I do from the university, Mumbai University. I go attend classes there. Let's say physics. I don't do in this Rizvi Institute, but I go out, do it from the Mumbai University, physics department of the university. Okay? Or I do from some other institution. Maybe from TIFR, I register for mathematics and I get 3-4 credits from TIFR. Right? So what have I done? I have done 4 credits from somewhere else and the remaining 16 credits I am doing. Okay? So that institution, the other institution like TIFR, will evaluate me, will teach me, will evaluate me, will, I have to pass their examinations. Then they will give me a certificate that this fellow has completed a 4-credit mathematics program from TIFR. This institution will accept that and add to those 16 other credits. That's it. Right? So what have we done? We have done something that is not available today. Right? What was not available? I could not have gone out and learned something today. But the NEP allows you to do this. Okay? Of course, there are certain things which must happen. This institution and Mumbai University should have a MOU. Right? Otherwise, why should they accept you? So that MOU will tell us that I will recognize your credits, you will recognize my credits, this program is so many credits, this program will be done, delivered in so and so fashion, and so on. Right? Now you may say, does the student have to travel to TIFR? Maybe. If the institutions are nearby, maybe. But most of the time, that will have to be done online. Right? Because you can, suppose I have an MOU with Delhi Technical University and I do some course there. So from Mumbai, I can't travel to Delhi, no? So therefore, that will be done online, which means I need a digital platform. Again, that digital platform that I was talking about in the beginning now is useful to me in allowing my students to go out and learn a different subject, for which I have an MOU. Obviously, I'll need an MOU with the Delhi Technical University or TIFR or whatever. Right? So I have brought in a little bit of personalization into the education. The student is saying, I want to go and learn physics from, let's say, Jadavpur University, maths from Delhi Technical University, things like that. Not everything that the student says will happen. Right? For that, the institutions will have to come together. They'll have to create MOUs. They'll have to allow their students to register, because now you have to keep track of the student and what he is doing from different places. So some kind of mechanism must exist. All that can happen through learning management systems on the digital platform. Okay? Follow? So we have introduced some amount of personalized education. And we have also brought in a concept called bank of credits, academic bank of credits. So if X student earns 4 credits from TIFR, in his notional bank, those 4 credits are there. He has got from them from outside. And locally, he has got some another 12 credits, and the remaining 4 he has got from a third institution. Right? So in his bank, his credits are getting accumulated. So that is accumulation of or academic bank of credits. Okay, fine. So academic bank of credits, if executed properly, will lead to personalized education. Right? Okay. Now the question is, how do I charge the fees? Suppose I have a MOU with TIFR for my students to learn mathematics from there. They are the best teachers, faculty. So I have given the student the facility, but I have charged the entire tuition fees. Right? So what do I do for these 4 credits? I have to pay something to TIFR. Right? So the answer is very simple. Again, your 20 credits will have, you must have charged some fees. Let's say you have charged 1 lakh rupees for your 20 credits. So your credit is 1 lakh divided by 20. So that's the charge per credit. Now if you are transferring 4 credits, you multiply that, so you get 4 credit value, transfer it to the AFR, right, for that student. So there is a lot of student particular data that is being generated, and all that will happen only on a digital platform with learning management tools and other software. Okay, follow the thing. Now somebody may say, TIFR may say, you are giving me 5,000 rupees per credit, but my charge is 7,000 rupees. You may have charged your tuition fee which is lesser, but my tuition fee is much higher. So my credit fees is much higher. You are only giving me what at the rate that you are, charging. Now that is something that you sort out within the MOU. When you create an MOU, you sort out these problems, then create the MOU and you allow the student to progress and accumulate credits from different sources. Okay? So you have now allowed personalized education to some little extent. Okay? So if you expand this paradigm, you will understand the dimensions and the flexibility that you can have within the curriculum. But then the underlying factor is collaboration. Unless you collaborate with other institutions, with other faculty, with other infrastructure, it will not work. That is the challenge. So those challenges can be overcome when you start implementing the scheme. The next is multiple entry and exit. What is that? After first year, if I leave, I get a certificate. After 2 years, if I leave, I get a diploma. After 3 years, if I leave, I get a degree. And after 4 years, I get an honors degree or research based degree. Right? That's the basics. The question is, yeah? Fourth is honors, yeah. So, yeah? Time. Yeah, after 1 year, get a certificate. That means 12 plus 1. 12 plus 2, you get a diploma. 12 plus 3, you get the degree, like what you get now. 12 plus 4 is the honors degree. Now the question is, even today, a student can drop out after 12 plus 1 if he wants. And he can come back after 2 years. His registration stays, no? You don't cancel his registration. Is that right? You can drop out after second year. So that dropping out features exist even today. But what is the difference? Earlier you were not getting any value for that 1 year or 2 years that you have done in the college. There is no value, right? So that certificate today under NEP gives you that value. Or a diploma after 2 years gives you a value, right? Is that fine? Yeah. No, we will come to the details. We will come to the details a little later. We'll answer all your questions. Let's understand the schema first. Get a certificate, a diploma, degree, and an honors degree, right? The question really is, what do I do with that certificate? What do I do with that diploma? Right? Right? If that certificate has no value for me in the market, then why should I drop out? If somebody gives me a job for my 12 plus 1, then I may think of dropping out. But if I don't get a job, placement, then it's of no use to me. Yeah, there will be some people who will go out, work in their, family business and then come back. That's a small number. But for a larger audience, if I don't show you a value for that certificate that I'm giving you, then you will not drop out. And if you don't have that value, then there is no difference I'm doing now and what I'll do probably later under NEP, right? Follow? So now what should I do? It's very simple. Now your job is much more flex. Your job. But of building the curriculum, right? So I have to now build a curriculum for 12 plus 1 so that that fellow will get some employment. Right? So I have to build skill-based curriculum into the first year and then build on that for higher order skills in the second year, in the third year, and so on. Right? Right? So without that, I will not be able to ensure him anything. कुछ कैरेट तो दिखाना चाहिए ना तुम ये है 1 साल के बाद 2 साल के बाद. If that doesn't happen, then it's a question. Right? So building curriculum, designing curriculum now is much more involved job. How do I build skills now? I have to look at the industry. I'll take you through some slides where we will see all that. So now I have to look at the industry. Today I am not even looking at the industry. I am creating my own curriculum. From whatever the world is doing, I am doing some curriculum. I am teaching that, the student is happy, teacher is happy, job is done. Successful, but patient died. Where he doesn't get a job. And then they will come back and tell us that you have not taught him to get a job. Right? That is what is happening today. Tomorrow also it may happen if I don't connect the industry. So what should I do? You map the entire industry now into different verticals. Manufacturing vertical, your product vertical, finance as a vertical, and so on. And in different sectors. There are multiple sectors, electronics, pharmaceuticals, and so on. Right? So now you map that, and you also map the job roles that are available in the industry at different levels. So if there's a pharma industry, I should be able to map the job roles available in the pharma industry first. Then I go back to my curriculum and find out what skills are required for that job role at that level, map that, build those skills based curriculum into my curriculum design, and that is my curriculum now. So unless I collaborate with the industry, unless the industry collaborates with me, with their people in my, now they have to become a part of my curriculum, right? The industry guys. And then you build a curriculum which is accepted by the industry as having those competency-based skills which are useful to a certain job role within that sector and industry. Follow? Now this is all not as easy as I am saying. It's a lot of work, lot of involved work. Okay? So I have academic bank of credits, multi-point entry exit, and so on. Or conversely, on this campus, you have a science college, you have an arts college, commerce college, you have hotel management, I believe, and so on. Okay? What should you do? An engineering student here may say, I want to learn baking, cake making, right? Baking. I want to learn baking. I want to bake a cake. Then that school will create, or they may have, a 2-credit program which tells you different ways of baking, cooking, all that, right? So he gets 2 credits from the hotel management school, goes into his academic bank of credits, and it acts as value-added credits or whatever, skill-based credits, right? So similarly, a hotel management fellow may want to learn something else from some other school, accounting maybe, from the commerce school, which is not a part of his syllabus, his curriculum. So you give him a 3-credit program from the commerce school. So he gets 3 credits from the commerce school, and so on. So these could be, there are 3 alternatives here. I can build these additional credits as a part of my curriculum, or I can keep them as audit courses, or I can keep them as value-added courses. But in any case, those credits add to my mark sheet. right? So all this flexibility is available to him under NEP. Okay? It's another matter that they were available earlier also. You are not doing it. Today, if somebody wants to learn, let's say, baking from hotel management school, will they stop you? They will teach you, right? He has to pay some fees, they will do it. So now it's formalized into a system, and that is the advantage of the policy. Only if you use it. If you don't use these features, then you may be running your program like your earlier programs. So National Research Foundation to be established, regulation of higher education with single regulator, affiliation system to be removed in 15 years' time, providing autonomy to institutions. Autonomy is good, but then in order that autonomy functions, there are several things that have to be done, and that may not be easy. Personalized education. Okay? So all three we have defined. Now, so National Education Technology Forum, those things are fine. Teaching in local languages, it's a good thing. I mean, but then we need to provide more employment opportunities in different states. For example, if you go to Kerala, you don't have employment opportunities like you have in Bangalore or like you have in Mumbai. So if I start teaching everybody in Malayalam in Kerala, then where will you go for job? So those things are there. Maybe over a period of time, states will develop and so on. Okay. So there are certain, within the NEP, in order to do all this, there are certain skills that are required, like critical thinking, creativity, scientific tempo, communication, collaboration, multilingualism. See, an Indian, by definition, is multilingual. You know, he knows Hindi, he knows local language, he knows at least one other language. So he is anyway multilingual in that sense. Problem solving, ethics, social responsibility, digital literacy, cognitive flexibility. Now the last one is extremely important. Today, you have a shelf life for skills. Okay? The skills that you acquire, they have a shelf life, 2 years, 3 years. Then the requirement changes. Right? In 2006, you didn't have, a smartphone. You didn't have WhatsApp till 2010. Today, everybody is, today you have WhatsApp universities, right? So, the idea is technology is changing, and with that, the skill sets required are changing. Unfortunately, that is coming down. So, what is required is continuous reskilling and upskilling. Right? The older generations were not required to do that kind of toggling. Right? They learned some skills and they lasted for 10 years, 15 years, 4 years, so on. So now it's very necessary you keep learning, unlearning, skilling, reskilling, and upskilling. Because the technology is changing fast. This is the first problem. The second problem is the earlier pyramid-like structure. So you had entry level, people with low order skills, and as you go up, the level of skilling was going up, but the numbers requirement was coming down. So it's like a pyramid-like structure, right? Today, because of automation, the base of the pyramid is shrinking. Because several jobs that are done at the base, at the entry level, are taken over by automation. You don't need people. So because of that, the base is shrinking, right? Which means that even at the base, you need higher order skills to enter, right? And as you go up, you need even higher order skills as you go up. So the number of jobs at the base are shrinking and they are not increasing as you go up. So the whole environment is changing and therefore we need to build our soft skills. I should be able to do well in different situations, in different job requirements, right? It is not that I have started off as a production engineer and over a period of time, 10 years, 15 years, I'll remain in production. It doesn't work like that. So you need to change skills, acquire more skills, change jobs, things like that. That is possible only if you have cognitive flexibility. Your cognitive function should be able to take that change. Okay? So these are the skills for 2023. You have communication, computing, management, research, project management, teamwork, analytical skill, customer service, leadership, sales, and marketing. These are the skills which you require in future. Irrespective of what discipline you have. You may be from commerce, you may be from engineering, you may be from medicine, anything. But you will need all these skills. Now these are some of the emerging job opportunities which require digital skills. So let's see. Some of the major jobs are AI, ML, data analytics, information security, Internet of Things, big data, project managers, fintech engineers, and so on. So therefore, it is necessary that these skills are built into your curriculum. Right? Majority of jobs are here. So you better equip students with these skills. How to build these skills? Now you design your curriculum in that fashion. I told you how it operates. Right? And one other feature of your curriculum design will be to understand that the entire curriculum can have 3 compartments. The first is the prerequisite. Okay? To do anything, I need some prerequisites. And then I have core courses. So core is the second. And the third group is the electives or specializations, which builds on this core. These are the 3 major divisions. Having said that, I will have completely choice-based credit system in each of these 3. Complete choice-based credit in my prerequisite, in my core, and in my specializations. Right? Now, depending on the sector in which I will probably be employed or I have an interest to be employed, based on that, my prerequisites will change, my core will change, and my specialization will change. Right? And that now you relate to job roles and you create the curriculum at that level. So technically you will have multiple combinations of curriculums and things like that. Okay? So these are some of the digital job capacity from 2025. Now, whatever be the story, the new education that we will have to adapt to a new digital world. Offer industry micro credentials. You understand what a micro credential is? Fractional credits. In the pandemic, during the pandemic, you must have learned some Coursera courses, right? Udemy or edX, right? You must have done all that. What is each course duration of a Coursera program? Maybe 15 hours, 10 hours, 12 hours, right? So if I want one credit, it should be 15 hours. Now if I do a 10-hour program for a certificate, what is that? Fractional credit, right? That fractional credit is also called micro credentials. So it's not please understand what is behind this. It is not necessary to do a 3-credit program all the time to get some skill. Okay? Or a 4-credit program, go to college, sit there, learn for 45 hours, learn for 60 hours, and then I'll be proficient. Nothing like that. There are good courses which should be maybe 10 hours long, maybe 15 or maybe 20 hours long. I get the requisite skills. If I want to learn harmonium, how many hours of skill do I require? Practice is different. Learning is different. Okay? So it's like that. No. These are additional. Okay? So along with regular program, I gather some micro credentials. So when I go for my placement, I tell him that apart from my course curriculum, I also know this. I also know this where this is 15 hours I've learned, this is 10 hours I've learned. So I get certifications. So it's a good idea to create at least one micro credential or of at least one credit or maybe whatever every semester. Right? So a student will have at least 8 micro credentials by the end of his bachelor's program. Like that. And who selects those micro credentials? What to learn? Student will do. You don't get into that. Okay? So that is personalized learning. I am accumulating credits. Right? And it will help me to get a job after my exit at certification level or things like that, or diploma level or whatever. So now my multiple entry exit is becoming a little more meaningful. If I add a few skills to what I do in that 1 year, so that my job placement at the end of 1 year becomes a little more meaningful. Right? So technical digital topics and tools integrate cutting edge content, empower faculty. All this is possible only if the faculty is empowered. Faculty should know what is happening. Otherwise, what will they tell the student? Right? So faculty must be empowered. In fact, faculty should get those micro credentials for themselves. They should also participate. They should also clear the exam. They should get those certifications. Only then they will know what the student is trying to say. Right? That this is the essential skills map and how to build a curriculum, under NEP. I have 7 verticals: engineering, data science, product, finance, marketing and managers. It's in some simple way, what this means is, today my job market is available in these verticals. Okay? At some level, I'm not talking of job role. Whether he is a science graduate, arts graduate, or commerce or engineering or whatever, he will get into one of these verticals. Right? And with the skill sets that he has, he will get into some job role in those verticals. Right? Now the point is, if I have to get into this, I need 3 skills which are extremely important for me. One is business skill, technical skill and data skill. Apart from all that I'm doing in the classroom, I will need business skill, I'll need technical skill, and I'll need data skill. Right? So if I'm training somebody to get into the finance market, if I'm training an engineer to get into finance market, or if I'm training a commerce graduate to get into financial markets, then he should know for business skills, mathematical finance, financial modeling, financial engineering. For technical skills, he should know Microsoft Excel, VBA, algorithmic trading, visual analytics. For data skills, he should know forecasting, business analytics, visualization. Now, if you are creating a commerce graduate, without these skills, you will not get into meaningful employment. Right? Simple as that. Similarly, if you are getting into engineering, manufacturing, engineering, and such an industry, then you will need agile management, leadership, and product management as business skills. You will need debugging algorithms, cloud computing as technical skills, and you will need Python, machine learning, and big data for data skills. So, if you cannot build them into the curriculum, what will you do? I want them, but you are not able to build it into your curriculum. Micro credentials, right? So let him get into that. You facilitate him to get those micro credentials in these areas, right? Product, any product, right? Product as an industry, like for example an automobile company, right? Then these are the future jobs which will require new skills. Healthcare economy is growing very fast. You will need a lot of skills there. Data, AI, engineering, cloud computing, sales, marketing, all that. And green tech is another sector which has a lot of growth but lesser number of jobs availability. Healthcare, more employment opportunities. So these are the underlying drivers which we must understand in the market today. NEP is, you cannot implement NEP meaningfully if you do not understand the industry, if you do not understand the market that you have. So underlying drivers, economic structure, labor displacement, and emerging landscape. So we have connectivity, machine capabilities, demographics, social expectations. You have modularization, global. These are all things that are happening within the industry and we must understand them. That's the point. The top 10 technologies that are defining today are these. Every industry is moving towards industry 4.0. Right? At least the Western industry. In India, we are probably still struggling with industry 2.0, 3.0 and things like that. But whether we struggle or whatever, industry 4.0 will come in. Okay? And what are the technologies that are influencing? AI, machine learning, robotic process automation, everything that you do is RPA. You get that KYC on your mobile, do this, do that, it is all RPA. Then you have blockchain, Internet of Things, you have cognitive computing, intelligent applications, virtual reality, 5G, and DevOps. These are the 10 technologies that are operating. Whether it's pharma industry, whether it is automobile industry, or whether it is space industry. These technologies are there. So therefore, these skills must be there. So it doesn't make a difference whether you are a science graduate or an arts graduate or a commerce graduate. Unless you go into humanities or you go into life skills, soft skills, and so on. These will be required if you want to make a meaningful employment. These are the new building blocks of the industry: autonomous robots, simulation, or horizontal vertical system integration, IIoT, cyber security, additive manufacturing, augmented reality, big data analytics. Right? A commerce graduate may not get into simulation and autonomous robots and so on, but he may get into big data analytics. So there is something in this, irrespective of what your discipline is. Okay, you must understand that perspective. And it impacts the entire value chain. And the value chain may have communications, it may have supply chain, factory infrastructure, tools, you name it, it's all there. Engineering, design and tool simulation. So your industry is impacted on every element of its value chain. Right? So that is the reason you must look at other disciplines. Learn skills which are cross-cutting across disciplines and so on. There is another report of McKinsey which says that in order to succeed in future times, you need not one skill, but you need at least two skills. Okay? What is that one skill? That may be your basic qualification. You may be a commerce graduate or maybe a science graduate. That is your first skill. The second skill can be anything, absolutely anything. If you know French, be very good in French. If you know music, be very good in music. That is your second skill. Okay? If you know to play some instrument, practice and be very good at that. That is your second skill. Okay? It's not enough if you learn French in school and then forget and not do anything forever. Because the report also says you never know when you will need that second skill to survive. Okay? Because the whole system is changing so fast, the skill set that you require are become obsolete. Your skills have shelf life. So it's very difficult to predict what is it that is going to sustain you in future. Right? We have so many technologies today which didn't exist 1 decade back. Right? So that is the problem. So on one side you have Internet of Things, on the other side you have product innovation, process innovation, autonomous agent, digital networking, and so on. This is how the industry functions today. What is Internet of Things? On one side, very, very simply, it needs internet because there is internet in that, and it needs things. What are the things? They are the sensors. Right? Anything that communicates is a thing. So your mobile is a thing, your pen drive is a thing, your PC is a thing. It's communicating. Your camera is a thing. If this projector is on a network and on a on the internet, then that also is a thing. Anything that communicates is a thing. So today you have several devices, billions of devices all over the world which are trying to measure something, get some information from here, there, and making some decision, and so on. Right? So the entire industry workspace is in a way controlled by these sensors. So that is on one side. On the other side, you are talking of product innovation, you are talking of process like that. Okay? And in between, you have digitized services, you have Industry 4.0, your smart products, your smart factories, and so on. Right? Now, what is the kind of employment that I'm looking at which bridges this? Right? So, that is labor 4.0. So, within the university, within the institution, if I'm not creating labor 4.0, they will be obsolete in time to come. And in order to build that, you know what you have to do. Those previous slides that I've shown. Right? And the blank I have left is Industry 5.0. Okay? Anyone has an idea what Industry 5.0? No? Industry evolved from the steam engines, right? The first industrial revolution. Steam was used as a prime mover, right? So you had steam engines and so on. Then we moved on to using gas in place of steam to power these systems, right? So we started exploring for gas, for oil, and so on. So that all that came in the second industrial revolution. And in the third, it went into a digital mode where you had computers and all that. And currently we are talking about 4.0 where technically machines will talk to machines. Okay? So what are machines talking to machines? If a machine finds that its lube oil is getting empty, then it will trigger a system where its oil will be filled. No human beings. Right? So that's the kind of thing. Anyway. So, yeah? I'm coming. So we had in the first evolution, we have industries working for profit. Okay? So if I build an industry, I should make profit. That was the condition. So I maximize profits. All my processes I design in such a way that my profits are maximized. So I have first P, right? First P, profit. Then as it evolved, people thought there are so many workers in a factory. There are so many people, there are supporting staff, there are main, staff who are contributing to this profit. Right? It's not machines, it's also people. So people welfare must be taken care of. So you got in several incentive schemes, you got schemes where the people were taken care of. If people are happy, if they make profits, then the company will make profit. The industry will make profit. Right? And more profits. So the second P is people. Right? Now, the third evolution says, I have profit, I have taken care of that. People I have taken care of. Where is my raw material coming from? From the earth. Right? All my raw materials are from the earth. From Mother Earth. Right? So, in order to look at my people and my profit, I am depleting the resources, the earth's resource, the planet's resources. There are many resources which are not possible to replenish. In some years we may run out of oil, we may run out of gas, we may run out of your material, minerals, ores, and so on. Right? This is not everlasting source. Right? So in my greed, I am depleting the planet expands resources so fast that there will be nothing remaining to take care of either profits or people. So you understand that now. And the third P is planet. Okay. So now I go back to the drawing board and look at all my processes and improve upon them so that I use optimal resources, not produce as you like and waste the resources, right? So this is Industry 5.0. So in 5.0, you have to look at your processes not just from people and profit, but also look at what damage you are causing to the planet. Okay? So you must have heard of Sustainable Development Goals. There are 17 goals. So 5.0 is a part of that. And India is a signatory to Sustainable Development Goals. So this is how you build a curriculum. At the top you have the career of a student. At the bottom you have hands-on learning, skill-based learning, competency-based learning, and so on. Outcome-based learning, right? And since today we do not have any equipment which is unidimensional in its technology. You look at mobile, you look at washing machine, or you look at your mixer, grinder, or your car, any equipment you talk about today, or even this remote. There are multiple technologies. So it is not enough to be a good mechanical engineer. I have to do many other things. So my learning must be multidisciplinary and not unidimensional. So my curriculum should be built like that. Then I should also worry about emerging areas. And those emerging areas can come from engineering, they can come from business, sciences, liberal arts, which actually and then you have the core part. So this is the layered approach which you must follow while building the curriculum. So some slides which will tell you about specific areas. This is your business student, for example, your MBA, BBA, those guys will get into digital product management, entrepreneurship, data analytics, digital marketing. Depending on where they are going, those skills must be there. Right? Again, the same steps to do it as micro credentials. Okay? And accumulate fractional credits. Guided projects is a very important issue where several organizations, they provide you those kind of projects. So it's very necessary that students get into this. Product management, for example, product life cycle, analyzing market attractiveness using creativity, creating, and so on. Small business marketing using Facebook, Creately, and so on, right? So that is the requirements. Science, we have seen management, we have seen some engineering guys, we'll look at some science students. Chemistry, you must be having a BSc program here, BSc chemistry program, right? Do you have on this campus? You have a BSc program, right? Look at your chemistry syllabus, BSc chemistry curriculum. What do you teach? You analyze that against this. What you need to teach today is battery development, nanotechnology, electric vehicles, drug discovery. Of this, I'm sure you will not be doing even 10% of this, right? So, and how can you expect jobs for them? So you need to move with the times. Green energy is a huge sector today. And within chemistry, battery development has multiple job opportunities. Nanotechnology, electric vehicle, drug discovery, Similarly, mathematics, if you have BSc mathematics, are you teaching data science, decision science, business intelligence and forecasting? I'm sure you're not doing, right? You teach some simple, straight-jacketed mathematics problems, right? Even that you teach without applications. Like if I ask you questions like, you must be teaching, what is it, differentiation, integration and so on. Do you teach that with examples? Right? You must be doing some surface integral, or you must be doing some double integral, triple integral, all that. Do you know why it is used? What is the application? Are you doing it? What is integration? When I integrate, what happens? Can I use it to an application? That is required. Not teaching integration as a, as a method. That is not going to help, right? Hold on. So biology you have, bioinformatics, genomic science, industrial biotechnology, and something that you use it widely during the pandemic time. Decision science specialization, like I said, those prerequisites, those electives, hands-on projects, and so on. So the idea of NEP is also to declutter higher education. So there is a multidisciplinary higher education system. Today we have too many, differences. You have state university, you have private university, you have public universities, you have central universities. Today you have, what is that? Cluster university. Are you aware of any cluster university in Bombay? Anybody? Pardon? Yeah. That is a cluster university, right? Yeah. The state government has also passed a regulation for vertical university. Aware of that? Yeah. So, and if you remember, the state has also given permission for an AI university recently. Artificial intelligence university. Though personally, I don't think the way it should develop, but whatever that is. Tomorrow, if I say there is a university for blockchain, there is a university for, machine learning, I think it's taking things too far. We don't disaggregate education like that. There's a foundation that is built, and on that foundation something can be done. If the foundation is bad, like if I say mathematics and physics is not required for engineering, I'll say something is wrong with your thinking. They are building blocks, right? For arts, if you say that, maybe it's a different game. Yeah? The best mathematics people you'll find in as electrical engineers. They have, I'm not saying that the others don't have, but that's what it is. So all those things are done here, declutter the higher education. So the quest for quality education is knowledge, deductive and experiential. No university was ever built to guarantee jobs. Okay? We don't build universities to guarantee jobs. We build universities to give them skills to fit into some job market. But today, the entire technology has gone, and therefore, we also necessarily have to speak about placements. If I don't find a job for the student, what will he do by coming to your university? So that is important. So what you do in the university is supposed to be deductive. I can analyze. That skill you must teach me. You should teach me to ask questions like why and why not. If you are not doing that in a university, then your function is you have failed in your duty, right? When do you get answers? Not when you accept. In a group where people listen and then say yes, 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 sir, then one of you is redundant. No? Why do you need so many people to say yes? Throw them out. Instead, you have people who will intelligently question, and some new knowledge is created because of that. Right? So, and experiential knowledge is always got on the job. On the job. Right? Whatever we say, a teacher student in a classroom is still the best form of teaching learning. So we need to look at how technology can be adapted into the classroom. For those who may be interested, we have the for the Hindu movement, we have Shankaracharya, and he has several mutts. He has established several mutts in different places, in different corners of the country. And they use certain pedagogies to teach. Even today they use those pedagogies. So there you have, Shravana Vidhi is one method. Means what? I talk and you listen. Shravana means what? Ears. And you listen. So Shravana Vidhi. So I keep talking and you learn. So there are 10 different methods. There is Adhyaropa Apavada Vidhi, which means I recreate my method of teaching. I create figures, for you to understand. You start learning and so on. There is also Upadesha Vidhi. Upadesh means what? I give sermon and you learn. Unfortunately, what has happened is over a period of time, only the first one, the Shravana Vidhi, and Upadesha Vidhi, the last one, these we are following in our universities. Beach wala sab chala gaya. There are different pedagogies which to learn. People are using that in while creating a gaming experience in teaching learning methodologies. The idea is if I give you a video game, you see children and they'll keep playing for hours together. Right? They don't get bored. You give him a 15-minute lecture on mathematics, he will not do anything. Right? Why? So therefore, you must figure out what is happening in that game and can I bring it back into my teaching learning process so that he starts learning, better. So he starts showing interest a little better and so on. So therefore, you need to understand that there are several pedagogies which we have lost in time, but probably we can bring them back in some form. They are actually using them in creating new softwares for teaching learning. Okay, so it's not that they are just said for that sake. So the policy has several opportunities. It connects education with opportunities of employment. But having said that, employment must grow many, many times. We have several. What is that? Anyway, I lost track. So to be prepared for the jobs of the complex, dynamic and rapidly globalizing future, students should have opportunities and programs that allow for this exposure and provide students with tangible outcomes, which means every single place should be well connected, we should have job opportunities and so on. Yeah, there are several industry bodies like ASSOCHAM, you have CII, you have FICI, and so on. But unfortunately, they don't give you a demand side requirement. They don't tell you how many mechanical engineers are required this year, how many AI specialists are required. Today, every institution is closing down these building blocks, civil, mechanical, electrical, and they're starting AI, ML, all that, as though that is the ultimate. They are the building blocks. So you cannot simply say that this has no value, in the current situation. We would have liked the industry bodies to reflect upon what the industry is doing and give us some demand side figure. We all are talking about supply side figures. How many students, how many this discipline, that discipline. All that number we have. But do we have any number as to how many AI guys are required in the market today? So it's only perception. Somebody says there are jobs in AI, so everybody runs towards learning AI. Right? Forging alliances is an extremely important point of NEP. NEP doesn't work if you don't do alliance, if you don't do collaboration. Then internationalization is important. Forging alliances with people outside, institutions outside, bringing faculty on the campus, students on the campus, your faculty going out, students going out, all that must happen. For all this to happen, technology is the driver. So new teaching learning models must emerge, centralized by function versus relatively decentralized by courses. A conventional straight-jacketed education, which was there for 70 years, is sought to be broken. Innovative thinking, business process re-engineering. Look at education also as something transforming similar to businesses. Autonomy, there are 4 facets of this. There is managerial autonomy, there is administrative autonomy, there is academic autonomy, and there is financial autonomy. Unless all 4 are there, autonomy never works. If you give me academic autonomy, saying that you do your own courses, you do conduct your own exams, that is what is autonomy today. You do your own syllabus, we have given you so much freedom. But how do I do a new course if you don't give me the money? So financial autonomy is an extremely important part of any autonomy to succeed. And then the most important for autonomy to succeed is the leadership. If the leader is bad, autonomy will die. Okay? Oh. Yeah. So I have a virtual and networked system. So you will need, our institutions must be like Velcro institutions. What is Velcro? You can fold it in different ways and, do different things. Our institutions and universities must be like that. If I say that I'm driving BSc science program and I'll continue to do this in the way I know, not going to work. You have to be flexible, change things as you go along. So universities must be extremely flexible, like Velcro. So all these other things, virtual labs, simulations, they all add value and you will need that. This is the multiple pathways. Now in order that all this becomes operative, you need MOOCs. So MOOCs becomes the aggregator. How do I get my 50 GER? I've looked at curriculum, I've looked at what is to be done, how it is to be done, how credits are recommended, all that we have seen now. Now how does it happen? On a digital platform, your MOOCs should become the value aggregator, which means I have a simple digital platform, let's say on a multi-tenant architecture. The computer science guys will understand. on a multi-tenant architecture, which means in a single house, I'll have multiple families living, something like that. Okay? So instead of one family, I have multiple families living. So multi-tenant architecture will give me an architecture to build several applications on the same architecture. Okay? So I will do that and build a virtual university. A university has what? Some administrative functions and some academic functions. Right? Every administrative function has an application, every academic function has an application. It could be third-party application, it could be something that I have developed, whatever, that doesn't matter. For doing admissions, I have an application. For selecting courses, I have an application. For attendance, I have something else. For examinations, I have something else. For accreditation, I have some other application. So I have some 15, 20 applications which define my university. Right? So one may come from Microsoft, the other application may come from somewhere. Learning management system may come from Blackboard, or it may come from Canvas, and so on. Right? So I have multiple applications which does some function of university. So what do? I take a multi-tenant architecture and build every of these applications through APIs and build one single platform. Right? Now that one single platform is my virtual university. Student can register, take any course, get into any discipline, get admission, appear for exams, everything he can do as he does in a normal traditional university. Right? Having done this, what will I do now? I will create multiple instances of this application. Copies. I have created one single application which has all the requirements of a university built on it. And then I create copies of this. One copy I'll call Mumbai University, another copy I'll call Pune University, and so on. And they will run their own content on that copy. Backend, I only manage the changes. So what have I done now? And the content, where is the content coming from? Any MOOCs platform. It could come from Swayam or the government, it could come from edX, it could come from Coursera, it could come from anywhere. Or I could create my own content sitting at home. And I put it on the platform. And it's available to everybody. Right? So I have created a single virtual university virtually to represent every university in the country, every institution in the country. Right? Right? So a student can technically register in Mumbai University, he can register in Pune University. All that he has to do is go to that instance and he will see all the things of the respective university. The courses, the disciplines, everything. Right? So industries within universities also must house research centers and so on. So if we do all that, then we are truly building a Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam. Means what? All the world is one family. We don't have this local religion pe alag hai, wo caste pe alag hai, udhar alag hai. That is meaningless. Right? Ultimately, we are all human beings. Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam. Right? So the entire virtual university will go towards that. Whether it will happen, not happen is a different thing. The concept, the logic is that. Okay? Of course, we have to look at the other side of the divide. People may not, there are many people who are poor, they don't have facilities. So we have to give them all those facilities. This is how we address those problems. So sanitized mobile vans can be used, maximum throughput can be used with 2.4 gigahertz ISM bands. So a lot of technology is required to make this work. So future institutions, future universities, you cannot function like the way they are functioning today. What is the first one? Change of organizational structures. If my business is going to become online and I'm going to get large numbers online, then the approach has to be different. I can't charge the same fees. I can't charge, continue teaching, learning in the same way. So change of accreditation processes, change of teaching method, change of learning, everything will have to undergo a change. And it will truly become an AI-enabled university because now everything is on the network. And on the network means there are many sensors. The students' entry into the college, no longer we will take attendance, right? So he should be recorded, his attendance should be recorded when he is entering the institute. So there are cameras, there are all those face recognition, all that. He should have smart cards for all the services that he wants. So in short, it becomes a AI-enabled university. Only change is permanent. Nothing is permanent. Only change is permanent. So embrace change. Today, if it is an NEP, embrace NEP and work towards making it a part of your life. This is a new world. In the new world, teachers will not remain teachers. They will become guides and mentors because everything is available. What is your job then? You handhold. You tell them where to get things, how to get things, and you handhold them if they don't understand what is available on the network. So they become guides and mentors. They will not remain traditional teachers. These are the references I have used. You can reach me. I have a YouTube channel, so you can always come on that, seek whatever you want. I'm there on all the social media. I do it more for my own happiness rather than anything else. Otherwise, I know there are several pitfalls in the social media network. Thank you. So if you have questions, you may ask maybe for the next 5 minutes or whatever you may ask me what are questions you have.
Yeah, we are open for the interactive session now, so you can ask questions if you have any.
NEP?
And in NEP, there's something called
Indian knowledge systems.
Light on that.
See, there are traditional ways of teaching and learning. So they are from the Vedic times, from the time Vedas have been there. There are several methods of teaching and learning. For example, there are many things in that. Indian knowledge systems has many references. I'll just talk about one reference, which is the Vedic mathematics. Though it is called Vedic because the origin comes from Rig Veda. Otherwise, there is no religion attached to it. It has sutras and sub-sutras, which means it has rules and sub-rules of learning mathematics. You can do multiplications, you can do square roots, cube roots, nth root, or anything in mathematics using those rules and sub-rules. Right? So that is, many of those sutras and sub-sutras have vanished in time because people have not used them. But some have survived. So based on that, you can learn Vedic mathematics, which is one part of that Indian knowledge system. It only simply means that what the country had in times, don't forget that, bring them back and learn and use them in some way. So there are several methods of astronomy. People in the olden days who calculated the distance from Earth to Moon, Earth to, the number of planets that we have, the movement of planets, and so on. Or, for example, you get the Panchak today, right? So, how are those calculations done? How is that predicted? And so on. So, they use a lot of methods that were available in the ancient times. Indian knowledge system tries to capture that knowledge and use it today. We have forgotten in time, but there is an attempt being made to revive that. On
Internships, we have to keep them in third year or final year, and how we are supposed to manage in 170, like how many credits we have to give for it.
These are all matters of curriculum detailing, and you can all. Fundamentally, internship is a good thing. You must do it. If you can do it in 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 semesters, every semester, there is no reason why. You find appropriate time, maybe a month during the vacation or something, and you place students. But having said that, it's not easy to find meaningful employment internships for such a large number of students.
The curriculum requirement says that there has to be internship. So, will there be any AICT scheme coming up to help out? Maybe zonal wise MOUs colleges can do with industries. From government side, will there be any support?
If everything AICT has to do, what will the institute do? They are nearest to their industries. They are nearest. See, ultimately you have to create a value proposition. I'll tell you what. When you are in the hostel, not everybody becomes a friend of everybody. Is that right? Only few people come together. And one of the main reasons there is the value they see in the other guy. So if you can't show any value, then they will not come to you. So as an institution, you must raise your quality bar so that the industry comes to you. AICT cannot force them to come to you. So therefore, you have to raise your own level of interaction with people, publish papers, do research, meet people outside in that area. They should talk about you like that. Look at your H index, look at your I index, those things.
Thank you.
If people go to IIT, why do they go there? Because there are people who can meaningfully talk with the industry or the research organizations and so on. So if a BRE scientist has to come here, why will he come here if he doesn't find a value? It's like that.
Concept of certificate, degree, diploma, degree, and higher honors degree concepts to be implemented. That design, as you said very rightly, that should be job skill-based orientation. Now to design such a syllabus with the industry partnership and considering the so many bottlenecks in terms of university, the national bodies coming up, it becomes a challenging issue. What is your thought process in this?
No, challenges are meant to be solved, So tomorrow, maybe if you officially engage people like us, we will help you. What else can I do? There are no easy answers. Yeah.
Well, but when we are already entered in the era of National Education Policy 2020, and we are expected to see that the young generation has to go into this system. That process needs to be adopted as fast as possible. So, in order to do that, the flexibility, especially from the higher education systems, national bodies or so-called statutory bodies, that adaptability somewhat is very
No,
challenging.
there are so many workshops being conducted by the state. There are workshops conducted by the center with education. So you should take help of all that. Yeah. And this year, the autonomous institutions will be able to, but the affiliated system will have to wait because autonomous institutions, at least the academic autonomy is there. No? If I want to decide 2 additional courses, I'll do, then you can do. But in an affiliated system, you cannot do all that unless the vice chancellor tells you, "Oh, कुछ फतवा भेजेगा, ये करो, वो करो." थोड़ी होएगा. Huh? I don't know what they will do, but let's see. Yeah. Yeah, you had some question. Yeah.
Thanks for the wonderful session. So, talking about the digital learning, the industry, there would be a possibility that industry will prefer offline students rather than online ones, and also it will create a kind of different divide, as there are pre-existing divide as well, but it will also create a digital divide among the students.
See, ultimately the proof of the pudding is in eating. You know? So whether your student comes from an offline or an online, unless he has the skill-based unless he has the skills required, he will not find an employment. As simple as that. It doesn't matter where he comes from, online or offline. Over a period of, see, today the difficulty is there is a mismatch between supply and demand. So we do not have so many appropriate jobs on the employment scene. So therefore, people prefer. I mean, if there are 2 students who come in, one is off, one is on, and I have only one job, then I'll take the offline guy. Yes. So you increase the opportunities. Then that.
So, thank you.
Yeah, good afternoon, sir. This is Arnab Ganguly from Rizvi College of Engineering, Mechanical Department. First of all, congratulations to you for the wonderful session on NEP as well as on the future of employment. Now, I have actually 2 questions that are connected together. First one is, what would be the scope of core and traditional branches and sector in NEP in engineering, especially like mechanical, civil, electrical? And the second one is connected to this, that what critical syllabus changes needs to be implemented in the core branches so that students are ready for future job prospects.
See, I can only say that first of all, if somebody is getting to engineering discipline, he better be a good engineer. Okay? Rest of the things will come later. So, if I am an engineer without knowing mathematics, or if I am an engineer without, I can become an engineer without learning a bit of mathematics, because that's the way the system is designed. But that is not a good engineer. So, say that first of all, he is a good engineer. Then electrical, mechanical, all that. So, which means that there are certain engineering skills which must be there. Rest of the things you build depending on the employment availability is. Like for example, I have seen some curriculum where for a mechanical engineer, they don't teach strength of materials. This is ridiculous. Materials is something that is required as a core principle for any engineer. Why a computer engineer doesn't need materials? An electronics guy doesn't need material. What is semiconductors without materials? If you don't know the behavior of materials, but you talk good things about semiconductors, where are you? So those core principles must on that. Done? Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Now I'm sure your guidance has not only enlightened but also ignited a sense of purpose within us to actively engage in the pursuit of the policy's goal. Thank you, sir. Now I request our principal, Madam Dr. Varsha Shah, to deliver the vote of thanks.